What's going on YouTube? This is Quinn, that snazzy iPhone guy, and this is the video review of the Bose MIE2i inner headphones from Bose.com. Now, I purchased these at my local Bose outlet for $129.99 US, and that's what you'll be able to pick them up online or in store. It's the same everywhere. And you know, Bose is very well known for being one of the most how should I put this? Prestigious but overpriced headphone manufacturers on the market. They do have their market share, and people that use Bose love Bose. You know, there are some people that would never even consider anything different. But I like to consider myself an optimist, and I've never found Bose to be necessarily worth the money you pay. They're great headphones, they work excellently, and the customer support is far and above better than anyone else. But as for the actual value of them, you know, I've always said that there's better options out there. So today we're reviewing the Bose MIE2i in-ear headphones, and this is part of Bose's in-ear second generation lineup. They have three models. They have the MIE2, the IE2, and the IE2 is just the straight headphones. There's nothing else on it. You get the headphones, the 3.5mm headphone jack. You can use with MP3 players, iPod, all that good stuff, but nothing else. Then you're going to get the MIE2, and then what that does is it has a microphone on it and a single clicker button. So that's kind of what you got on your first generation iPhone, and it comes with a lot of Android phones now. And then the model which we're reviewing right now is the MIE2i, and this has this three-way clicker that you'll know and recognize from, you know, the later generation iPods, and then the iPhone 3G, 3GS, and iPhone 4. And this holds true with all these devices. So you get this volume clicker, rocker, and all that other control which you're used to, and we'll talk about the functionality of this in a minute. But the prices are $99 for the IE2, and then for the MIE2 as well as the MIE2i, it's $129.99 US. Okay, so what's going to be included with the box? Well, of course, the headphones. You're also going to get this nice leather carrying case. It's not, you know, much of anything. It just comes with this felt lining. There's no netting or any of that stuff, so you can throw the headphones in here as well as a couple other things, but you know, it's a nice addition. I like it. And then you're going to get 6 different ear tips. Now, you're going to get the regular ones. These are the medium size, and the medium fits about 90% of people, so chances are you're a medium. But they have this little hook right here, and the same holds true with the headphones, so that they do stay in very well. Unlike a lot of foam tips and, you know, silicone tips with headphones, they just come off, and the case is not true with these Bose in-ear headphones. They stay when they're supposed to stay, so they won't be coming out anytime soon. You get, of these kind, one small, one medium, and one large. Now, we're going to move over to the they're called, what are they called? They're called the Stay Here ear tips, and these are one of the most bizarre looking things I've ever seen, but I'm going to get into the overall functionality of them. You take your regular pieces off, and then you put the Stay Here tips on, and what this does is it makes your headphone both look extremely awkward, but it actually feels really nice. It's just this little silicone thing that bends, but what it does is it retains in your ear. These aren't so much in-ear as in-ear headphones you're used to. You're not jamming a tip into your ear. These kind of rest on the outside of your ear, and only the very furthest point goes into your actual ear canal. So there's not a lot of coverage, and there's nothing inside your ear, which makes these incredibly comfortable. I've said this from generation 1, the Bose in-ear headphones have always been the most comfortable headphones for me to wear, and it still remains true with the IE2s. Now, it has this little tip here, and what this does is when you're running or all that other stuff, it kind of stays and forms to the canal of your ear, you know, the little tubular area on that. And what that allows you to do is stick it in, and it just kind of stays. You know, it's like a little retaining wall, and it just latches on. So if you're running, it takes quite a bit of effort and pressure and strength to pull them out of your ear once they're in. So you won't have any mishaps when you're running or biking or doing any other sport activities. So that's really cool that they included them. I was very pessimistic when I first saw these as to if they would actually work, but they have worked, and I love using them for when I'm working out. I don't use them on regular use, of course, because they are a little bit weird, but when I'm doing something athletic, that's definitely what I'm going to throw in my ear. They work great for skiing. Okay, so we talked about the tips, we've talked about the case, and then you're just going to get your typical literature, the user manual, their promotion stuff, and then your limited warranty. So there you go. These come with a 1-year warranty. They're very good, and that I mean, referring to Bose. I mean, if you have any issues with them, you just tell them, or you can just take them into the store and they'll replace it. Pretty much no questions asked. So they're very, very good when it comes to customer support. And in that term, paying $130, that's where you kind of get your value out of it, is if something does go wrong, chances are you're going to get a replacement from Bose. So that's cool. Let's compare them to the previous generation, which I also have. The Eartips themselves are a little bit different design. This is the previous generation, and these are the MIE2s. As you can see, there is stainless steel on the outside now, which I think looks a lot sexier in my opinion. You also still retain this open ear-ended design, which is very, very unusual for in-ear tips. And what this essentially allows, or what this means, is it allows air to pass through and the diaphragm can move a little bit more easily. And this is something that, like I said, is pretty unusual for in-ear headphones. And a lot of manufacturers would argue that it's stupid, it's not necessary. But I have found my music to be a little bit more true to the track, meaning it doesn't sound as artificial as some of the other speakers. Now, I gotta say that with a grain of salt, because Bose is also known for creating an extremely artificial sound. And what I mean by this is you're not going to get, the sound you would get off, okay, this is hard to say. It's not true to the track. You'd get overpowered bass or you'd get overpowered mids. That's not really true to the track, and it's a little bit artificial. And these do have a little bit of artificiality when it comes into the bass. I mean, these are pretty heavy on bass, but it does retain a unique sound. However, it doesn't sound so different than the original track that it doesn't sound right. So in terms of that's retained. You're going to get the same tip system, still marked with a right and left, I believe, although it's covered by the tip on this side. Nope, maybe not. Maybe it's not even marked. I don't see here. It's pretty easy to figure out that one goes into your left ear and one goes into your right. And then you have this, again, open tip design. As we move down the cord is exactly the same. It's a pretty thin cord that doesn't tangle that often, but can and will be tangled without too much trouble. The length down to the yoke is much shorter on the second generation. It's about 3 to 4 inches shorter, and the cable itself on the MIE2s isn't as long as that on the previous generation. Not sure I'm a huge fan of that. I do like longer cables in my headphones, but you can't ask for everything. But when we get down to the yoke on these, you're going to see a redesigned system down here. One side you got the Bose logo, you've got your slider here, which I actually do not like because it slides really easily. So when you pull them out of your pocket, sometimes they're like stuck together up here. Not a fan of that. And the yoke only goes up as far as the controller on the MIE2. So for those that like to slide it all the way up so that they can have one just dangling off of the other, that's not going to work. And I'll get into why I wouldn't even listen to it with one ear in a minute. On the other side, you're going to get like your serial information and your unique identifier, all that good stuff. And then we go down the cable more, and there is the 3.5 millimeter jack, which is a recessed design, so it will fit in the first generation iPhone as well as some of those skinnier jacks. Whereas the version 1 revision 2 had this little knob here on the end, and this has been eliminated in the latest model. Honestly, not sure what this is for. I've never seen the design or why this is there, but that's eliminated in the second generation. So you're probably thinking, shut up, talk to us about the sound, and I'll talk to you about the sound right now. Bass, as I stated earlier, has always been pretty overpowering, and it was honestly the downside of these headphones. Vocal stuff didn't sound good, a bunch of other stuff didn't sound good because this was too overpowering when it came to bass. Now, when we get to the MIE2s, they're much better at creating a more, as I stated earlier, true to the track sound. It still does have quite a bit of bass, and I would say that it's borderline overpowering, but it's not quite there. It's not too much, but it's not too little. I'd almost say that it's perfect. When you get into the mids, you get really smooth, luscious mids that stick out. They're not thrown away in the dust due to the trebles of the bass. And then we get to the trebles, and this is where I have an issue. There's not a lot of track separation. It's not going to pick up the finite points of the song you're listening to. So if you're expecting to see in trebles the little tiny changes in volume and all that other stuff, it's not going to pick it up. It's better than the previous generation was, which I would say the trebles on this are quite frankly awful. But it still doesn't retain that sort of trueness. It almost sounds a little bit harsh. And that's not something I typically like in headphones, and that's not something I've liked about the Bose in-ear IE2 headphones. But, you know, for some, you probably wouldn't mind. By the way, on second note, if you're looking for the earpiece, it still is marked. If my camera would focus. Wow. It says R right there. It's kind of hard to say. I didn't even find that till now. Anyway, that fluorescent lighting kind of reflected it and showed me it. But it doesn't create a true to the track sound still. And the upper end, the trebles, are a little bit harsh. And by this, I mean that there are better options out there for less money. One of the best well-rounded headphones and in-ear headphones, I'd have to say, are the Klipsch Image S4s. These retail for $80, I think, and they do a much better job at instrument separation, and they separate the high end from the low end, and you don't get that kind of muddled sound. You get it flush all the way across, and they're really, really excellent headphones. But we'll get back to the Bose. We'll talk about the Bose. Good sound. Not great sound, definitely not $130 good sound, but if you're looking at the base model, $99 is, you know, a decent price for Bose, especially since you're getting the name, the legacy, and you get their awesome customer support. But I'm just going to tell you right now, there are better options out there. I'd even go so far to say as the Rockford Fosgate punch plugs are a better value. I'd go so far to say as the Klipsch Image S4s are a better value. I may even go so far as to say that the Lentec Sonics 3s are a better value. But, you know, you do get the legacy, the comfort, and that's one thing I have to emphasize. And, you know, the customer support of Bose. You know, that's something that's always been at the top of their list. Now, we'll talk about this little controller here. One thing I didn't like is it's way closer than most headphones. There's only about 2 inches from the top of your ear. When I'm skiing, I had a controller on my Lentec Sonics 3, and I had one, you know, even on the stock Apple earbuds. It's quite a bit further down. It's about right here. And this allows you to not have to reach all the way up to your ear to change the track. And this is a little bit too short, in my opinion. You know, it's right there, and that's not something I really, really like. You're going to get the tri-stage rocker. As you can see, this is very minute. It's very flush with the rest of the device, which some people would like, but I think it's too small. I don't think you get full control of this without having to kind of finick yourself around and kind of make sure, okay, is this the right button? It's not big, and it's not like, hey, I'm the right button. You kind of have to dig around for a minute to make sure that you're pushing the right button. But other than that, the buttons are hard touch. They're very responsive, and I like them. As for the microphone, I made a few calls on this. My caller said it was clear, super loud, sounded awesome. So overall, the microphone is pretty good, but you do pay a $30 premium for this attachment. All in all, $99, $100. Isn't bad for the Bose in-ear second-gen monitors. $130 is pushing it with this controller, and I wouldn't pay a dime more than that. I'm probably going to return these just because I'm not expecting, well, actually I got what I expected, but it didn't surpass my expectations. There are better headphones for a cheaper price out there, especially when you're looking in-ear. I still, to date, would have to recommend the Klipsch Image S4s in terms of in-ear audio, and unfortunately the Bose in-ear 2 cannot reach that, but it is way better than its predecessor, and if you're a Bose fan, I'd definitely check these out because they are a decent headphone for the price. This is Quinn, that snazzy iPhone guy, bringing you the most honest reviews on the net. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.